Hey guys, Crystal here. Just wanted to give you guys some tips on surviving the final storm in Frostpunk. This happens at the very end of the game. Your temperature will start by dropping to 90 degrees, and then it'll keep dropping 10 degrees every single day until the storm is over. The very last day it drops to 150. Negative 150. So I'd like to give you guys a couple tips and tricks to help you survive the final storm. So first tip, there's a little trick you can do with your resource depots. I'm going to show you my stockpile here. If you'll notice, I only have 300 available resources for each supply. How I did this, because I have more than 300, is once I was done stockpiling the items that I wanted for wood, steel, raw food, and food rations, I simply changed those by clicking the resource depot and moved them over to coal. When you do this, you won't be able to get any more of those resources because you have the maximum amount, but it doesn't delete anything that's over the limit. So you can use this trick to basically keep a ton of extra. If you know you're not going to be producing any more wood or steel or food, just knock those resource depots back to some other type of resource that you will be using. Notice here I have over 200,000 slots available for coal, and I've got about 180,000 coal in reserve. So it's a pretty neat trick to go over what you should be able to go over and get a couple resources way over what you should be over. So that's one of the tricks that's very important to learn. I'm sure they'll come out with a patch to that someday that like slowly depletes your resources if you don't have available slots for them, but for now this works. So you can do that. Just change your finished resource types over to something else if you're not making any more of those resources. So obviously, another trick is to have a crap load of coal storage and a crap load of coal. Yeah. I always make a few steam coal thumpers, about 3 of those, 12 gathering posts, 3 coal mines, and it's pretty much good to go the entire game. So, another thing that you're going to need to do during the storm is have as many infirmaries as you can possibly handle. I have, let's check here, that many infirmaries. Each one of these can hold 10 people. When the storm hits, you're going to get a lot of people getting sick, and the people getting well is actually not beneficial. If you have room for everybody in your city, they're better off in the infirmaries, because the infirmaries, with all the upgrades, actually stay warmer than the houses. So if you have people that are sick during the final storm, they'll be safer in the in the infirmaries. Well, safer than they would be in the houses, because in the houses they can freeze. They can die from that, but that's a different topic. But the more sick people you have, if your infirmaries can handle it, it's better to have them sick inside the infirmaries. So it'll keep them from freezing during the final day, it'll keep them warm, it'll keep them happy, and more importantly, while they're in an infirmary, they cannot die, so long as the infirmary is functional. Now, on the very final day of the storm, let's go ahead and just play this a little bit. On the very final day of the storm, the last few hours, the temperature drops to negative 150. The only medical facilities that remain functional during that time are infirmaries, houses of healing, and care houses. So they're the only ones, and they stay at Chile if the Overdrive is on level 4 with Overdrive. So the more of those 3 types of facilities you have, the better chances of your city surviving. So let's see here. One thing to note is, if you want to get a little bit extra oomph out of your Overdrive, keep a spare steam core, and I'm going to be making an extra one at the end here by dismantling one of my automatons. If you have a spare steam core, then when your Overdrive reaches 100%, you can use that steam core to vent the power and reduce your Overdrive down to 65%. So you get a free about half a day out of your generator's overdrive, so really helps to have that extra little bit. So another tip, only use the heaters that you need. If something's like chilly or below, go ahead and use the heater. But if you're not using, like this one, I shouldn't be using. Cookhouse, nobody's in it. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. So only use heaters that you need. The reason I have the heaters on for the child shelters is because they're cold, so I keep those on. So if anything's livable or comfortable, you don't need the heaters, but if it's chilly, cold, very cold, freezing, turn on a heater, probably for the best. So let's see here. Excuse me, sorry. Your overdrive, let's talk about that for a sec. It takes about 24 hours, approximately, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, for it to fill up to 100%. Just about 24 hours, and that's when you have both of the upgrades. So it takes about 30 hours for it to drop all of the way. So keep that in mind. What I like to do during the final storm, and nobody ever dies this way, a couple people might get frostbite during the day, but I like to turn on the overdrive at 1800 hours and turn it off at 8 in the morning. It works pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing a little bit fast, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean here. So once our temperature on the gathering post gets a little bit lower, I'm going to take all my workers off of there. So let's go ahead and fast forward to about 2000. Alright, I want to move an automaton over to my coal mine during the night. Let's pause and check the temperature. Still doing pretty good. The child shelters are cold here. The reason the child shelters are cold is because they're only used at during the day. Hold on. There we go. Had to turn down my volume real quick. Child shelters are only filled with children during the day, so the heaters automatically turn off at night. You can see the word, if you look at the word heater to the left of where my mouse is right now, you'll notice the heater is grayed out, meaning it's not turned on at the moment, even though it shows it being turned on here. If the heater's grayed out, it's not actually using any coal, so good little trick. But yeah, a lot of buildings turn off at night and turn on during the day, like all these. Don't worry about turning the heater off at night, so it's not a big deal. So let's get going again. What's going on here? Danger of collapse. Keep me informed. So we have only 2 sick people first night. Not bad. Do use your hope managing buttons. For order, that would be like patrol. For faith, that would be your other buttons on your house of heat or prayer house. So, all right. So temperature did just lower. It's heading down to 100, negative 100. So I just pause the game for that. I'm going to check the temperature overlay. Now, chili is not horrible. I'm not too worried about it. Most of the people in the houses are going to be leaving during the day, so chili house isn't a big deal during the day. When they come home at night, it's a little bit more of a big deal, but I don't actually mind having sick people right now, because that means they're spending time in the infirmaries, and I can heal them pretty darn quick. So I'm not actually going to turn on my overdrive quite yet. I'm going to save it for when I really need it. I am, however, going to select one of my automatons here. Which name do I like the least here? There we go. We'll select that one and dismantle. Now I have one spare steam core. That'll help me at the very end, maybe if I need it. So let's get going. It is now 8 o'clock. I'm gonna swap my automaton out during the day. Let's get going again. I'm gonna abandon the lower levels because I do not want my people dying. This is a no-death playthrough, so... Stop. What's going on here? Gathering post? Why is that one not? Oh, it's not within the heat zone, so that gathering post is out of the heat zone. I'm turning it off and sending the workers home. I do not want them getting frostbite. What's going on here? So if you don't abandon the coal mines, this is what, or sorry, if you do abandon the coal mines, this is what happens. They'll ask you to build coal thumpers. I know I'm going to make it anyway, so you guys can piss off. Okay, I forgot to do this, so here we go. I don't need the coal at this point, I just have it, you know. Come on, game, do your autosave. Alright, so we have, let's count the sick people, about 25 sick people, so... Take a look. Yep. Extra rations. Let's get them healed up nice and quick. Okay. Here we go for the next temp drop. Okay, at this point, my buildings are chilly here. I can keep these running for about one more day, and then I'm going to have to abandon them. So, I don't have to abandon them, but I'm probably gonna. So, at this point, it's a good idea to turn on some of your heaters, because things can start getting really cold, so... Yeah, just look at how warm the infirmaries are compared to the houses. It's ridiculous. What's this building? A care house? Yeah. Dum-de-doo-de-doo. But you want to conserve as much coal as possible until you actually need it, so... If you have your heaters on when things are already really warm, it's not going to do you a lick of good. So, let's see here. What else do I need? I don't need the cookhouse's heater, but I have enough heat that I'm just going to turn on everything, because why not? I'm crazy like that. Dum-de-doo-de-doo. This is gonna make this place look like a volcano when it's done. This is ridiculous. You'd never do this. This is just me goofing around right now. never turn on that many steam hubs. It's going to make your consumption go to like ridiculously negative levels. So, alright, let's get going. Anytime things drop down to cold or below, take the workers out of them. You'll start getting frostbite if you don't. That's bad. So, I think we're good for now. Let's fast forward to the next day. Yeah, we'll make it anyway. We can recover a little bit of hope. And let's fast forward. Still not using my overdrive yet. Because I don't mind people getting sick, because I can heal them, and I'd rather them be in the infirmaries than in the houses, so not a huge deal quite yet. It's only 110. Still pretty warm. Yeah, they're doing pretty good. Alright, now people are starting to get sick, so. Alright, now before this temperature drop right here goes to negative 120, I'm actually gonna clear out my workplaces. I do not want people in there when the temperature drops to that level, so. Also, fun fact, if you turn a building off, it turns off the heater automatically. So, see, it's gray. So you don't actually need to hit the heater button. Like, if you want to temporarily disable a building, you don't want to mess with the heater, the overtime, the workers, or anything, just click off, everybody will go home, and you can, all the settings just save you all the resources, it's fine. So, it's a good little easy way to keep your settings without having to worry too much. So, alright, let's get everybody in position for the final few nights. Double checking. Alright, who all is working where? All we have is engineers working. Replace this with an automaton permanently now. Get that into overdrive with the foreman. These guard stations, they do provide a nice little hope bonus, so I am going to keep those active. That is going to give some people frostbite a little bit later, but they're only chilly right now. They're good till they get to like from chilly to cold. About very cold is when I'll turn off the guard stations, so. Alright, now if you were to actually take good advice, at this point start turning off any steam hubs you have around the map. They waste unnecessary coal. You don't need them. Any excess buildings that are using heat, turn them off. You don't need them. Alright, what's still on? Just the steam hubs, and I want those on so it looks pretty when it's done. So, alright, what else do we got here? Don't need the heater on the coal mine for the automatons. Don't need that steam hub. Alright, I think we're good to go for the final run. And I have 5 automatons left, so let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to put 1 engineer in that infirmary. Now the only people I have working are those in infirmaries, which would be the engineers here, the automatons, which I have working in a couple leftover infirmaries, and the last coal mine that I have, because I depleted the other 2 coal mines. And the only workers I have are in the guard posts, so they should be good to go. And I think we're ready to push the final bit. Let's do it. Alright, what day is today? 5 in the morning? We're good. Let's go. Yeah, it's getting really cold, but I'm not going to turn on my overdrive until 1800. Darkness before the dawn is when you start doing it. I have plenty of overdrive at this point. Now, you'll notice the child shelters, even with max heat, are completely non-functional. So there is no need to waste your precious coal on them. Turn them off. What's that? Infirmary? Why is that cold? Huh. Oh, because the automaton is still heading there. Got it. Alright, let's go. People at the guard station refuse to work. As long as you have a couple guard stations, you're good, so I'm gonna let them stay home. But you do want to get one last patrol in before you shut them down, so get that final little bit of hope. Yep. Only 1 frostbite, that's not bad. We got 3 sick, 3 gravely ill, 74 people being treated. That's fine. We're going to fast forward to right before 1800. After I check out this. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, we're going to pause right before 1800. Boom. Overdrive is on. And everything just got a little bit warmer. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the next morning. And you'll notice my sick people is still incredibly manageable, so it's not a big deal. Going on with these guys? Oh, right, I forgot I had built homes out here. Let's go ahead and turn this little heat zone on. That was my mistake. Forgot I had 3 houses out here. Don't do that. Let's get going. Alright, we have 123 sick people, still manageable. Now we'll let them stay home. I don't need anything anymore. Even if I do get a Hope Ultimatum, I'm still far past the point where I can lose the game, so... Alright, it is now past 8 o'clock. I can go ahead and turn my overdrive off for a little bit, because it's daytime and most of the people will be wandering around. So, let's go ahead and get going. Oh, the father's back. Very nice, very nice. Alright, let's get going till about... and noon's about good. What are we at? It's going to use about 40%. yeah, let's go ahead and overdrive it, and we'll just keep this on until the end of the game, and you're good to go. So. Guard stations I let stay home. Infirmaries I forced them to work. Let's get one last patrol in. There we go. And that will be our final injection of hope. If you'll notice, I haven't used any of the nasty laws, so I don't have a lot of the extra hope stuff, so I was pretty nice with my people. So let's do it. Game's starting to lag a little, that's okay though. Time to finish this. Overdrive might pop 100% at the end. It'll be close. May not need the steam core. I hope it does so I can show you what happens. But you really only need to worry about turning on the overdrive once you get that darkness before the dawn message, so. We have to stay strong. -150. Now, this is the part, I'm going to pause for just a second. This is the part where you need to have your overdrive on. It happens about 2 o'clock in the morning, right before the final day. If you turn your overdrive off, your infirmaries, care houses, and houses of healing cease to work. You need your overdrive level 4 to be able to have those function, and you do need them, so. Looks like I only have 40 people sick from the past night. Anybody else who gets sick doesn't matter because they'll just head to an infirmary. We've basically won at this point, so you guys will get to see my little city and how I built it, so. Alright. Just for giggles, I'll turn up the range to range 4, not that it matters. I keep my range at 1 because I have so many steam hubs. They're much more cost efficient. And I still haven't gone down below 999. Just out of curiosity, what's my coal at? 148,000. That's not bad. So, for those of you curious, here's my coal storage, food storage, how many houses I have, how much steel and wood I saved up, blah blah blah. So, 540 people are for reason. Sorry guys. Now it looks like I'm not going to get to show you the generator thing. Turned it on too late. Oh well. So yeah, those are the tips and tricks on how I get through the final storm. Worst case scenario for me, I usually get 5 or 6 people with frostbite. Nobody dies. Pretty easy, so that's how I do it. You're welcome to do it any way that you like, but hopefully you learned something from that. And if you pause really quick right after the end, oh, look at that. It's a flippin' volcano. So, yeah. Let's turn the overdrive off. We don't need it anymore. Turn that down to level 1. Game is over. Now I'll let you guys watch how I built my city now. I will shut up. So there you go. You got to see my little layout plan. Pretty fun, pretty easy way to do it. So hopefully that gave you a little insight into the final storm. So it can be very hard if you don't prepare. You got to make sure you have a decent amount of coal. I used, what was it, from 180 to 100, I used 40,000 coal during that, and that was with a crap load of extra steam hubs, so you don't need nearly as much as I had, but the more you have, the better. So there you go, a no-death run. So, I hope y'all enjoyed. I might do another video doing some hard mode playthroughs if you guys want, but we'll see about that. So, anyway, y'all take care. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you next time.